What's up, Spellslingers and Highlander enthusiasts? Havoc here, and today I would like to present you with a deck that I am the most excited to build with the new cards coming out in Dominaria. Now, if you watched yesterday's set review of the multicolored cards, then you already know this, but I am a huge Aryel fanboy, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And while all the Dominaria cards were being spoiled over the last few weeks, I saw all of this Knight synergy happening in white and black right before my eyes. And then Aryel herself was spoiled, and I was like, well, that does it for me. I will make this deck, and this will now be my deck. Now, when I think about viable Brawl decks, we always need to ask ourselves, is there enough support in the standard card pool to support this commander and what they want to do? And while there is certainly a lot of Knights that are coming out in Dominaria, there are even more in the last 3 planes that we visited, the majority of which coming out of Ixalan blocks, so this deck really is safe from rotation for quite some time. But by drawing a lot of support from these other sets is what I love about this strategy and this Knight tribal idea. And in this color pairing, even before Aryel, the fact that they were Knights, it really didn't matter, but now, oh, it matters, and it's awesome. So we've put it off enough. Let's talk about this general. Aryel is a 4-mana 4/4 Knight with Vigilance in Orzhov colors. One of my favorite color combinations, to be honest. And this is a pretty solid creature by itself, but then you look at her text box. For 2 and a white, you tap Aryel to make a 2/2 Knight token with Vigilance. The synergy is so strong. You can attack with her, leave her open until your opponent's instep, and then create the token. And her second ability costs 1 black and tap to tap X number of target Knights you control to destroy target creature with power X or less. And this too can be left up until a threat is attacking you, and then you can pull the trigger. I love these kind of generals to build around. She is great when you have a field full of Knights, but if she's the only one out there, she's still going to do work, and if left alone, she will take over the game. And maybe the greatest thing about this Knight of Windgrace is that she's riding a panther. Now, I want to know exactly how this happens and how this works, and do all the Knights of Windgrace ride panthers? And is riding panthers something that I can do? Okay, I'm trying not to get swept up in this. I just keep telling myself this isn't D&D, this isn't D&D, but Aryel isn't the only Knight running under the banner of Windgrace in this deck, so let me introduce you to the rest of the troop. First off, Dauntless Bodyguard is just the right kind of 1-drop we need in this deck. He's a good early attacker, he can help Aryel with providing a Knight to tap down for her effect, and he can sacrifice himself to protect her or another valuable Knight that we have. I know he seems unassuming, but we get a lot of value out of him here, especially in the 1-drop slot. Banalish Honor Guard is just a bear with an upside, really, and that's what everybody wants. And there are 7 legendary creatures in this deck, including our general, who we can just cast and recast, so there's a good likelihood that this Honor Guard is a 3/2 most of the time. Now, what was I just saying about bears with upside? We have Knight of Grace. And this bear's upside is just crazy. Both the Knights of Grace and Malice are no-brainers here because they both help each other out, and this is a perfect deck for both of them because they are just mere opposites of each other. But both are great creatures and low in their mana cost, and that's exactly what we're looking for in this deck. Next is Knight of New Benalia. Now, this isn't a bear, but a 2-mana 3/1 will always be good. And who knows, with the ways we have to pump our creatures in this deck, that 1 toughness could grow into something a little more robust, and then this Knight of New Benalia becomes a serious threat. And speaking of ways of pumping our board, we have Banalish Marshal. This is just an anthem on a stick with a pretty good body. Not only does he help our board though, it is a really great Knight to add to the team. The white mana cost shouldn't be that much of a problem since this deck really is weighted a little more heavily towards the white side to begin with, so I like the Banalish Marshal here in the 3 spot. Another 3-drop Knight is one of our legendary Knights, Danitha Capuchin Paragon. Just look at those keywords: First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. That second line doesn't mean as much as the keywords, but it still could come in handy. Danitha Capuchin is an auto include in these Knights. Moving into the 4 drops, we start out with Cabal Paladin, and this is a great Knight for us. Both his 4-2 body is great, and his ability we'll be able to trigger multiple times in a game. Like I said, we have 7 legendary creatures, but we're also running 7 artifacts and 1 saga in this deck. That's basically a quarter of the deck being able to trigger this. This is going to be better than you think, at least it is in my deck. Next we have Alinda the Dusk Rose. Here's a knight that it really didn't matter that she was a knight until Aryel was previewed. I know some that are believing that the Dusk Rose is so powerful that it warrants building her own Brawl deck. And if she's that good, then she probably deserves a spot beside Aryel while she tramples down her foes. We have Josu Vess, Lich Knight. Now, you might be thinking that Josu Vess isn't the right knight for us here. He's more about the zombies, but I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I have my sources in Wizards R&D, not really, and they have told me that the sole reason why Josu Vess is a thing in this set is to give Aryel the perfect in-game closer. But seriously, he's fantastic on turn 4 with a 4/5 body, and he has Menace included there. But if you find yourself in the late game, this could just push you over the top. 8 zombie 2/2 knights is ridiculous. Next is Quinde, Pride Ephemery. Quinde himself has double strike, which is really good for an aggressive deck like this, but he also gives our first strikers double strike as well. Now, we have 4 creatures with first strike built in, but we also are running an equipment that can give another creature first strike too. Next is Sanctum Seeker, another underrated knight here. Now, the obvious place for this is in Vampire's Tribal, where you can get like 7 damage and 7 life gain in a single combat step, but this still has some synergy here. We're running 4 vampires in the deck, and hey, that's still value because we're mainly capitalizing on the knight creature type here. Really, this drain ability is just gravy for us because the Sanctum Seeker is still a great knight to include in this deck. We have Arvad the Cursed. I know you're getting sick of hearing this, but another knight with great keywords and some bonus synergy on top of it. We have 7 legends that could capitalize on Arvad's ability here. And if it doesn't happen, okay, he's still a knight that can help the strategy, and when it does happen, great. The last knight we're running to top out our curve is Vona, Butcher of Magan. Do I even have to say it at this point? The keywords! But in case we can't get Aryel back on the field, here's another way that we can deal with some threats. The synergy and versatility of Vona just cannot be denied in a deck like this. We have 2 non-creature spells that help us get more knights on the board too. Call the Cavalry gets you 2 2/2 knights with vigilance for 4 mana. Now that's just a good deal, and then you can do with them as you wish. And lastly, we have History of Benalia. This might be one of the best reasons to play this deck, really. Look at this art, and you get 2 more knights over the course of 2 turns, and then you can swing out on lore counter 3 and do some serious damage. This is a little slow here, but here's the beauty of this. If your opponents don't take this out, then before your upkeep, you use Aryel's ability to destroy a creature to clear the way, and then you can swing in and knock out an opponent. Now, Aryel can destroy the creatures that she needs to, but she also needs a way around the indestructible gods that are in the format right now. So all of the removal spells that I've included in this deck all have exile effects. Angel of Condemnation and Angel of Sanctions are both great creature-based exile removal. The Angel of Condemnation can help protect one of our creatures or remove a potential blocker if we need it to. And the Angel of Sanctions is just a great way to remove a problem, and then we can embalm him and do it again. These angels also give us a way to protect ourselves from threats in the air since all of our knights are on the ground. Vraska's Contempt is one of the very few black exile cards, and it also deals with planeswalkers as well. This might be a little too pricey on your wallet, so you might think of using a different exile card here, but if you have one of these, then definitely use it here. Seal Away is a new card we get in Dominaria, but this is going to be so good for the Brawl format. What most have been saying about the format so far is that it's very much a combat-oriented format, which makes sense because it lacks a lot of the combo potential of EDH, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to exile a tapped creature no problem. We have Thopter Arrest. This is just great unconditional removal here that hits both creatures and artifacts, which will come in handy in this Brawl format for sure. And of course, we have to run Cast Out. This hits anything you need to take care of. It's just a great answer anything card to have, and it's premier removal in white right now. And we're running just one sweeper in the deck, Settle the Wreckage, since we really don't want to clear the whole board, and this is nice to have in a pinch if you're up against another aggressive deck. In our ramp package, we're running both Bantu's Monument and Oketra's Monument. Both of these help us cast Aryel, and they give us upside, either tokens or some life gain on all creature spells that we cast. I chose these because we're running a very creature-heavy deck, so we get more out of them than just tapping them once a turn. And if we're running a tribal deck, we might as well put Pillar of Origins in there too. This ramps us for 2, and it helps fix our mana if we need it. So I know that equipment gets a bad rap, but I really wanted to stay on theme here. If it turns out that these are too slow or too bad, I might change them out for some more utility or some ramp, but here's our armory for our knights. We have Dousing Dagger. If we're making the choice to run equipment, then this dagger is solid. It's all upside. It has great stats that it adds, and in a 4-player game, you can find a target a little easier, so you can flip this and then give us a great source of ramp. But if you can't get through, like if you equip this in the late game, still the +2/+1 bonus is really nice in my opinion. Next, we have Jousting Lance, and this gives our creatures +2/+0 and first strike, which is important in a deck that wants to be in the red zone early and often. Our last equipment that we're running is Black Blade Reforged. Now this sword can get out of control very fast, and we're running enough legends in this deck to almost guarantee that we'll always have a target to equip for cheap. Some other notable includes in my deck list are Paradox Engine. One of the things that really levels out Aryel's ability is that you have to tap her in order to do it. So having an ability to untap her and all the knights that she needs in order to do it again is really good. Paradox Engine will be able to do some real work in this deck, especially in the late game when you have mana sitting around and you're not sure what to do with it, or if the board starts getting mucked up. Vanquisher's Banner is just really good in any tribal deck. You get that card draw to help fuel us so we can keep up the pressure on our opponents, or you can use it to dig for an answer if Aryel's Destroy ability meets some opposition. We're running Arguel's Bloodfast. More card draw here for the low cost of 2 mana and 1 life. Now this is a good deal in my opinion, and we have a good amount of life gain in this deck to help us even it out. We have Anointed Procession. Even if it's just for Aryel alone that's producing the tokens, she could get 2 great tokens for just 3 mana this way. The upside is just too good for me not to include it in this deck. And finally, we have Metallic Mimic. This is just another great trick for a tribal deck to make our threats even that much more threatening. In our mana based, we're running Concealed Courtyard, Evolving Wilds. We have a Field of Ruin to take care of those pesky legendary lands running around the format right now. We're running Forsaken Sanctuary, Isolated Chapel, and we're running both Memorial to Folly and Glory. I actually really like these lands that we're getting out of Dominaria. They're both useful abilities to have around, especially in the late game. And since we're in tribal, we have an Unclaimed Territory, just basically the best tribal land ever. And with this, we're running 7 swamps and 10 plains. So there you have it. I hope you can see through this deck tech why I was so stoked when Aryel was previewed. I think this is the perfect balance of aggression and control. And we're in a tribe that wants to be attacking and to smash face, but the creature type also lends itself to protecting itself as it does this. Aryel's ability to remove threats gives her so much more utility than just being this blunt instrument knight. And with all of this, the amount of support that this general has in the standard card pool right now only aids in the formation of her knights. And I didn't even get to name all the knights that are currently available right now. So secure your boots in a saddle atop a great Black Panther steed. Grab the reins and prepare to strike fear in the hearts of those daring to invade your beloved swamps of Urborg. Inspire other knights to also take up the banner of the mighty and ferocious Lord of Windgrace. Protect the less fortunate. Offer no quarter to those who stand in your way. Trust your faith and ride out to meet the glory running before you. For you are a knight of Windgrace. Once again, my name is Havoc. This has been a Brawl deck tech, and if you have anything that you would do differently, please let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.